Ilia Topuria has made it very, very clear now that he plans on giving up the belt and moving on up to the lightweight. That's an interesting discussion there because there's been rumors of this, and it seemed more so like he wanted to do something where he kept the belt and fought Islam. And it appears he says basically, no, I'm not going to do that. I wanted to go relinquish my belt, give it up, and move on up and work my way up at the 115, moving up to the lightweight division. And he listed a couple of guys. Dustin Poirier is a possible guy, as well as Charles Oliveira. Both of those fights would be massive fights to make. And listen, I'd be shocked a little bit, but we've come out now. There's been some reports from his trainers that, listen, the weight cut for him was very, very tough. He wants to move up 10 more pounds, makes him a little bit more easier for himself, and start to work his way up there. Listen, the featherweight division has lots more fights to make. We know the rematch against Volk is on the table. I've never been a big fan of that because, listen, Volk to Poirier 2 is probably not going to go very good for Volk. Not the fight I want to see, but it's still on the table. And then you look at a guy like Diego Lopez, who's a guy that I think deserves a title shot. I think that would be an interesting fight. I think Topuria wipes out the division regardless, though. But it still is an interesting fight. And I figured, you know what? Go to 2025, get the Volk fight done, get the Lopez fight done, and then Lopez fight up done, and then move up in 2026 and go do the Islam fight, whatever it might be. But if he wants to do this right now and he says he wants to return in May, that's going to be intriguing for me. Because listen, is Topuria ready to go fight at the next division at lightweight? I don't see why not. He's got the power, he's got the ability. It would be very intriguing. Listen, Charles Oliveira seems like a weird stylistic matchup. I would prefer for him to go Dustin Poirier. I think that makes more sense for him. But listen, a side note actually, what Topuria could be putting together in his resume is to become the biggest villain in UFC history from a standpoint of who he's KO'd. We talk about guys he's already KO'd. Max Holloway, fan favorite. Then you go over to Volk, fan favorite. Oliveira and Poirier, two of the massive fan favorites. A lot of UFC people are not going to like seeing KO these guys possibly, but let's just say that he has the ability to do that. And it makes it a lot more interesting because also from the standpoint, let me say this. When you talk about featherweight division, I just said that I think it's more so like a ticking timeline, right? We know he's going to probably defeat Volk. We know he's probably going to defeat Lopes. Why not move to 155, get lightweight division? That makes the most sense in my opinion now when you think about that because, listen, at the featherweight division, we already know he's going to wipe out everybody. Just going to be kind of wasted time fights he's going to defeat. But now at featherweight division, it opens it up where Volk and Lopes for a title shot is a very, very intriguing fight. That's a fight that I'm willing to see, and I think Volk has a chance of getting a world championship back and get a belt back. But that's actually a very, very intriguing fight to see right there that I'm all for. I think it opens up the featherweight division because there's a lot of good fights you can make there. But as for the next division, that could set up where if Ilia goes out and defeats Oliveira or Dustin Poirier, that makes sense and you have a mega fight set to go fight Islam. And probably what would it be? The back end of 2025? I'd say third or fourth quarter most likely because he fights in May. That would probably be setting you up for a fight that could possibly go down. Islam's fighting in January, September, October, UFC, whatever that is. That could be a fight you see right there. And so either one of those options makes sense to me, but I actually am very, very high on that. If he moves up, goes and fights Poirier or Oliveira, then you make a mega fight. That probably would end up being one of the biggest fights you can make in the UFC. It'd be right up there. Ilia, Islam, if Ilia defeats Poirier or Oliveira, would probably be almost neck and neck tie with a possible Aspinall John Jones fight. That's my stance on that part, but listen, I'm all for it. If that's what Ilia Topuria wants to do, by all means, go ahead. Work your way up another weight class and continue to build that legacy in the resume he's already started to build.